What's up, folks? It's been a minute. I have not had any spare time to get out here and film any of this or edit anything else. It's just been hectic. I've been working ever since deer season went out. I just immediately went on the grind of just get as much done as I could, as far as like bills, get them paid up, try to be ahead of the game. You know, just stay busy and prepare financially and mentally and everything for what's coming with turkey season and whatnot. And yeah, we didn't even think we were going to do any traveling, but we've just had it rough. We would like a little break from just reality, if you will. So yeah, we decided we're going to go back to Kentucky, give it another try. Last year was awful. The season was in way late, as was Indiana, but Indiana we still were able to work some birds and came close, but we had more time up here. And yeah, down there we just didn't have it. It wasn't on like it was the year before. You know, that's just part of it, but I think the game is going to be completely different. I'm going to go ahead and get an Onyx thing for that state so that, you know, if we're driving around and see some birds, maybe we can go get permission, possibly. You know, I'm excited, she's excited, but it's been one thing after another. I've been working, like I said, a lot, just almost every single day. I've had 79 tattoo appointments that actually showed up. That's not counting the, I don't know, half a dozen to a dozen that didn't show up, multiple tattoos in multiple sessions, or multiple tattoos in those sessions, half sleeves, everything. I've been working, doing literally all day, from drawing, stenciling, tattooing, clean up to the end, all day, most of this year. So I'm exhausted. Every time I got a break, it has just been one thing after another. It's kind of cost me shed season. I've really not been able to travel much. The one time I got out, besides, you know, 3 or 4 times where I actually found an antler, I got out after days of working. We're like, all right, we got to get down to French Lick. We used to shed hunt there all the time, and we just never have the time anymore. And we managed to make it, and as soon as we get there, the car sounds funny. We're like, hopefully that's not going to be an issue. Get back to the car a couple hours later, and it was an issue. Immediately, the car pretty much blew up, is what we're guessing. It's not looking good. So I had a truck back home. After dealing with all that, I ended up paying a guy, after all the mess that comes with, you know, with being over nearly an hour or whatever from where we live. Like a tow truck would have been like $350. So I ended up paying a guy $120. Super nice guy. I'm really glad I met him. He helped us out, got us back here. You know, he didn't charge me that much, but I gave him extra because that's what you do when people help you. You know, especially if they're nice, and this dude was super nice. But so we get that dealt with. We're like, all right, let's work on the truck. That's going to be, you know, a cheaper part to deal with. I just had a steering pump issue, we thought. We got that fixed. Everything was looking good. A week or two later, all of a sudden, it's just spewing, and we're like, what in the heck is going on here? And ended up having a little hole in that line, which we finally diagnosed and finally figured out. But, you know, of course, with vehicles, one problem after another. I heard some grinding when I was coming to a stop the other day, so I've not drove it since we started hearing that grinding. And I thought it was in the front, because when I'm driving, you know, usually my windows are up, but I roll them down, listen, and it still sounded like from the front. So I'm thinking calipers are sticking, you know, that's going to be this amount of money, this amount of money. Could be both, you know, usually when one goes out, the other goes out if they're factory, so it's like right there. Just timing, you know. And I'm like, all right, I got to do something. So this truck pops up online. I'm like, it's a parts truck. It's got a bad transmission. The guy said everything's good on that, except for the transmission, obviously. You know, no real issues. So I was like, all right, well, I can get off of it what I can and kind of Frankenstein up my truck, have, you know, functional parts that I need. Like I need a new bumper, you know, one of my door panels, I went ahead and replaced that. The little pieces of the handle that was broke off for the tailgate, I replaced that. Just little stuff. But ultimately, they took the battery, and somehow I didn't end up getting a title, which I don't remember us even talking about. But since it's a parts truck, I didn't question it. I just went with it. And yeah, so far I've paid $1,200 to fix. I think the only thing I really fixed with using that truck is the handle, the door panel, which it was still with a broken door panel, but not as broke as the truck that I have. So it's just a little better than it was, but it's not like new. And of course, you know, the hose. So really not nearly anywhere near $1,200 worth. I should have offered him less. I definitely should have got a title. It's just you live and you learn. It's not important to me. It's just like I said, it's a parts truck. You know, I'm gonna take off what I can from it, and hopefully that rear end works for this, because it wasn't the calipers. It ended up being my rear end is grindy and about to go out. Like it drives, but risking going all the way to Kentucky, no. Like, I'm not gonna put myself in that position where I'm in an entire other state and need to pay however much for a mechanic to try to deal with it on their time. I'll be stuck there. You know, we got kids and, you know, life, so I don't have that kind of spare money just to go around gambling on if I can make it there and back. So we almost decided that we wasn't going to go, just because, like I said, it's been one thing after another. Every time I start to get a little gas in this and take off, it's just like, nah, you're not. So it's just setback after setback after setback. There's obviously a ton in between there, just little things through life that are retarded. Like, for instance, I had a spigot leak, like on the ones that come off that into your house, the tail end of winter, like the last couple months of winter, and we knew about it. It was froze, but there's nothing we could do as far as actually working on it, like getting up under the house, and we had to take it out of the side of the wall and whatnot. Frozen all the way around from the leak, like it was literally just running. And that was charging me, a little bit more than $100 a month for just the water bill, which is whatever. It sucks, but I've had worse bills from different leaks. I've definitely been able to manage. Well, that last month there, we're like, all right, let's fix it. I think we're 2-3 months in. I know what my bills are at this point. And then I fix it, and then a month later, I suddenly get a $250 bill from the water company. That makes no sense. You know what I mean? The worst of the leak was in the winter whenever it was running constantly, not after I fixed it. So, got to make a phone call on that. It's just another unexpected, huge bill. You know what I mean? Like 240 plus for water. They're saying I ran like 19,000 gallons or something, I think was what we read. But like, no chance. It's not possible. Like, we cut that water off over a month ago. It's not been running, so there's significantly less water use. And they were saying in the month of March that I spent more, or used more. It's just not possible. It's just them, they seen that I fixed something, and then they cranked up on their side so they could still get a chunk, because they figured out that it was a leak from me fixing it, and the water obviously being significantly less all of a sudden. But yeah, so that is part of what I'm dealing with. It's ignorance, as usual, just stupid shit. You fix what you can when you can afford to fix it, or when it's possible to fix it, and you end up with these fucking stupid bills because humanity, right? Whatever. Anyways, you fix this problem, move on, fix this problem, move on. And then now, we almost didn't get to go, so I'm like, alright, what can I do? I messaged my parents. We don't really have that relationship where I can just go borrow their vehicles, especially very often. I can go to a store maybe, if I'm down both vehicles, I can go to the store and not expect too much backlash. I'm not trying to use nobody, I'm not trying to borrow nothing, but you have to sometimes. So in this case, I was like, hey, I'll give you $200 if I can borrow your vehicle, for these 2-3 days, whatever it's going to be, to drive down to Kentucky and hunt. You know what I mean? We're not running around or nothing. We're just going straight there. The hunting's right there by it, or by where we stay, so it's whatever. But turns out, nope, their vehicle is kind of on the edge too. They don't know if it'd even make it. So I'm like, back to square one. Or do we just keep asking people? Do we, ask a favor to someone drive me down there? Or what do we do? So I finally dug through my finances and just figured I could squeeze it in there. Looked it up, found the prices. I could definitely make it happen and not be too uncomfortable. So we're going to get a rental. We're going to drive down there. We're going to make it happen anyways. We'll try not to get too much, filth in the rental, but we'll just have to clean it if we do. They're not going to be happy with us killing turkeys in it, but we'll do our best to treat it right. Yeah, other than that, there's really not been anything else going on. I've just been stuck working nonstop, trying to get things caught up. I did a couple deer. I ended up working with a buddy. He was actually he wanted to mount his own deer. And I think he kind of seen that it's a lot more non-fun work than you expect. So I kind of ended up mounting most of that, which is fine. At least I know he's getting a good looking mount. He got to be a part of it. He now understands it's not fun and games. It's taxidermy sucks. But yeah, so a couple mounts done. I got my dad's done for his birthday right on time. Stuck it down there whenever he was asleep. Put it on the wall. To my knowledge, he likes it. I don't know. We really don't talk all that much, but yeah, trying to do what we can do. Trying to do what I can for people when I still can, as far as people I like. There's a lot of people on my shit list anymore, and that's kind of where they belong. But it's life. You live, you learn, you move on. If you've noticed, there's some people that don't hunt with me here anymore. It's partly my fault, just because I kind of cut those people out of my life. You know what I mean? If I see behavior that I don't want to see, I don't want to be around, stuff like that, I'll cut people out. Or if I see, like, one of the guys I was a huge friend with, or huge fan of as a person, like, he's a good person. It was just his relationship was making it not fun, because his girl was always around, and she was just not a good person. She's just a jealous person, started fights all the time, just, it is what it is. So I cut myself out of that. If they can do whatever they want on their own time with their own life, that's on them. I don't care. But I didn't want to be a part of it. I don't want to see it. If I'm hanging out with him, it had to be with them. I don't want that drama and that excess childish shit, So I just kind of cut myself from that. It sucks, when that's probably one of my closest friends that I've ever had, just as far as like in my adult life. Somebody they weren't out to fuck me over, you know what I mean? They were just a genuine friend. But like I said, I've got principles. Certain things are not going to allow me to deal with things like that, and I'm not, I'm not one to sit there and watch it. I don't want to watch somebody spiral downward, and visibly they talk to me, so I know what's going on, whether they spill it or not. But yeah, I just didn't want to be a part of that. And then another guy, it was always, when he needed this or that, I was there. You know what I mean? But then when it was the other way around, I get left on the back burner. I basically begged to go do the big waterfowl hunts, and then they'd go anyways with other people. And it got old. Like, I'm not your friend when you want me to be. I'm supposed to be your friend. So if I'm like, hey, I want to go do this hunt, and then you keep doing it in my face with other people, we're not friends. So that's fine. I've learned my place like that, and if that's where I stand with certain people, then that's where I stand. Move on. Eventually, I'll find my own people. Obviously, got some of my own people, but not everybody hunts. Not everybody that I interact with and get along great with is somebody I'm going to go and we hunt. Like, maybe they don't hunt at all, or maybe they got their style hunting and I got mine, and they just won't, we both know where we stand. And it's nothing bad, you know what I mean? Like, everybody has their own shit, and we're all adults, we're all getting older, we all have our own schedules, our own lives, kids, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I've got this group of friends, and I've got a hunting group of friends, and it's narrowed down to 2 or 3 that are really friends. There's people that have been friends, but it's been too long of it's only beneficial to them, you know what I mean? They're getting discounted tattoo work and, discounted this or that, put on deer or put on turkeys or whatever. It's been through all these years of dealing with people. People just like to use you. So you gotta set standards and boundaries and, move on from there. So it's where we're at. That's why most of the time you're gonna see me hunting with my family and myself versus how I used to hunt with, this or that friend that you kind of see here or there. It's not that way anymore. I'm not gonna keep bending over backwards for people that are literally putting me on the back burner until they want to, interact or whatever they want to call it. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own story. That's my side. I really don't fucking care if you believe how that plays out, but it's just how it is. You gotta set standards and tell people you don't have that ability to walk all over me, to use me, or whatever you want to call it. Like I said, it's not all about using me or whatever, but it's a good part of it, and that's why I just kind of distance myself, because I've been a lone wolf most of my life, you know, by nature and by just not being the popular kid. Like, the popular kids, the ones with the money and all that shit that flash at each other with fucking, I got a new iPod, or I got a new skateboard, you know, like those kids growing up. I wasn't in that clique. I was always in the do it on your own, they got this, they're cooler. I literally would have friends, that's just, I mean, maybe it's how it is, maybe y'all deal with this, but you'd be hanging out, you'd be all cool, but then a week later, your other friend, who's a mutual friend, gets a new motorcycle or something. And all of a sudden, now this friend's over there every day. They're not really your friend. They're just conveniently your friend until someone has something cooler or whatever it is. And then you become adults, and obviously that kind of aspect doesn't matter as much. The what's cooler to people is not so important as it is just, you know what I mean, like what can they get out of you, or, you know what I mean? Like in the hunting world there is, I don't know, maybe it's not this way everywhere, but in my experience, there's been a lot of it where people get to know that you hunt a lot, or you kill a lot of deer, you kill a lot of big deer, and then come around deer season, all of a sudden they want to hang out. All of a sudden we need to hunt together. All of a sudden we're friends when we weren't. Shit like that. No, that's just not what we're doing. You know, I've hunted with a lot of people over the years. Some people I'm still cool with, but I mean, we don't hunt together anymore. Our paths don't align. That's your 30s for you or whatever, just modern world. In the 90s, I remember we had more time. We definitely made more effort to drive to people's houses almost weekly. I feel like we were always at somebody's house, but just, you know, we were places, doing things other than looking at a screen like the majority of people do now. I feel like the majority of people just stare at a screen most of the week, most of the month, most of the year. If they're not specifically at work doing something, they're kind of burning up their time not doing something productive. Or people that just drink all the time. You can't be coherent when you drink all the time, so it's not like smoking weed or, you know, anything like that. You're literally, you know, not the same person. It can bring out, you could be a complete demon just by drinking. It does something to some people. I don't personally drink. I don't care for it anymore. I barely drank when I did. I had 1 or 2 periods in my life where I drank a lot, and it was just for a month or so, and I didn't like it. Like, it's just not for me. I'm a mellow guy. I don't need all that shit. I want to be relaxed, chill. I don't want to have twisted guts or a headache or any of that crap. I just want to be, you know, content, happy, you know, whatever you want to call it. Just not fucked up. I just don't like that feeling. It's not for me. That's why I don't get like hard drugs, because, like, you know, you could die, but there's no way that makes you actually feel good, especially like when it wears off and you like fiending for more. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's not my life. But yeah, turkey season, it's right here. As soon as we get back from Kentucky, hopefully it's successful, but we're going to go right into scouting for youth season. And we have 4 kids going this youth season. I'm spitting when I talk. And we're going to have to basically shuffle those around. I'm going to try to do my homework. I've got a bunch of trail cameras in all the places I can hunt. If I can get a situation where there's 2 or more bearded animals coming in, I'm going to try opening day to get the kids on a double. That's, you know, that's a stretch. We're going to try, though, just because none of the kids besides Lily in one fall has ever killed a turkey. Besides, all right, if you go way back to Jaden and Caden, they killed a couple, but none of my kids have, so that'd be cool. Just to me anyway, so it'd be cool for my kids to finally get their first turkeys. It's all the younger kids left. Lily's the oldest, and she's killed one and uninterested at the time to even go again, so I'm going to focus on getting them. Tiffany, obviously, and myself, and our Kentucky hunts. If we have a lot of success in Kentucky, I'm not even going to worry about hers or my tags until more than likely either the kids are done or like while they're at school or something. But yeah, because it's not a big deal to me. Like, I obviously want to kill at least 1 or 2 birds this year. Didn't kill, but the one last year and spent a lot of money. So I bought hers and mine tags down in Kentucky and here. We've already got all our tags, fishing licenses, and everything up here. We got our trout license a few days too late as far as luck The rain set in, flooded real bad. It was chocolate milk the day we went. No bites, and then ended up with one bluegill caught, and since then it's been horrible flooding. I mean, literally where we fished is completely underwater right now. So, it is what it is. More wasted money when we were trying to have a little family thing, a little family time, do a little fishing, little outdoors activities, and, just get out of the house, and it just cost us more money, and we didn't catch no fish to eat. That's for me. Like, I don't like spending this money and not getting something to eat out of the deal. Like, a lot of y'all just might like the experience. Maybe you just like to catch and release. I personally like to go hunting to kill, to eat. I like to go fishing to kill, to eat. You know what I mean? Like, same thing with trapping to an extent. Certain trapping things is just catch groundhogs, we kill them, we eat them. So, yeah, that's that. We don't have a whole lot longer as far as season goes. We're like a week and a half out from youth. Main season comes in, I think, that Wednesday. Like I said, I'm not worried about my tags if I get lucky down there. My goal, actually, if I get lucky down there and kill at least one, I'm not even going to go with, I'm not going to intend to bring my gun at all until my birthday, which is towards the end of our season. But it's been one of those things on my bucket list as far as, that's the only thing in besides mushrooms and fishing on my birthday. So I would love nothing more than to go kill a tom on my birthday. I don't know. I've been on the day before, I've been the day after, and then all the way around that. But I've just never accomplished that day. I've come close, but yeah, so that's just one of them little things. If you see me a little over ecstatic on that particular day, that might be why. It's been a long time coming. I'll be 34 this year, and yeah. Which don't sound, at 34 doesn't sound as bad. 34 4 years ago sounded pretty old. So we'll say with the grays starting to pop out that I might be getting a little bit old. Not old, but older. It is what it is. That's our life expectancy. We wasted most of it going to what we'll call school, but it was indoctrination camp. Wasted our time. You have loves and failed relationships, failed friendships. You know what I mean? You come up and you get down, your self-esteem gets tore up at school. I believe is the number one place they break you down, because that's the first place you're really going to get some hard criticism, is when you leave your family and you go into school systems where now kids are picking on you for this or that. They'll pick on you for your clothes. They'll pick on you for your family. They'll pick on you for your weight. You could have a big nose, big ears, a freckle in the wrong place. And then those things, as you get older, will become an actual issue in your head if you let them. And a lot of people do. And then they became like a little bit of a thing in the back of your head that now you question all the time. So I believe, personally, that school is a bigger problem than it is helpful. I think we could do better like they did back in the day, where you actually raise geniuses based off of like a farm life. They'll raise somebody up and they'll become, somebody who can actually design certain buildings or design, whatever, without any of that fake training that they call schooling, because you can learn all that, like literally all that outside of school with minimal effort nowadays. It was minimal effort before when you actually taught your kids, but we've got so in the habit of thinking school is supposed to teach our kids. What would happen when there wasn't schools all over and most people didn't go to school, yet we were booming back then, before taxes, before all the BS. Once the 1900s start, everything else is BS from there on. But before that, we flourished for what, 400 years? So 400 years we went from a few states to the whole country, which what we call the country now used to just be territories of other people, and yeah. So that's my opinion. There's a lot of debate around it. You can think what you want, you can say what you want. It's a free country. It's what we fight for, it's what we argue for, it's what we stand up for. We want the ability to say this, say that, without the consequences of someone just saying you're wrong and then killing you or throwing you in jail. Although that does happen here, but not as much. Especially in modern day, we're starting to have the ability, if more people will press it, for people to see the actual issues that we run into versus the ones that they claim exist. When we know, all right, so during COVID all this shit happens, but they claim it doesn't. We all know it's happening. They still claim it didn't happen. That's what I'm talking about. Shit like that. They can't keep lying to us and saying this or that when we know the truth because we're living it. As long as we keep talking about it, we keep bringing it up, we keep sharing videos, we keep sharing studies, anything and everything to keep pressing the issue. There's a lot of very stupid assholes, mostly on the liberal side or the libertarian side, because libertarians, they think they're above everybody. And I get the libertarian side. I actually believe in most of what they believe in. However, I don't go around just assuming that both sides are fully retarded when we know one side definitely is retarded and one side has pretty good qualities. They have some flaws, as we all do. We're humans. Humans have flaws. But yeah, it's fucked up. So hopefully we can work on some more of that. It's a mess, you know. I truthfully haven't had much time to fuck with any of it. I see what I see and I try to ignore it because it's just a mess, and I'm worried about my bills and advancing my life and getting this project done, that project done, coming up with this, overcoming that obstacle, whatever. You know, did a lot of shed hunting this year, barely found any, and then that was like literally between work 5-6 days, get a day off, I would shed hunt as much as I could that day, back to work and whatever, or I'd work early and get off, no more work that day, I would go shed hunt for the rest of the day. So I got what I could in when I could, and then it just became too much. There wasn't any free time, then my vehicles were down, and yeah, so when it was one vehicle, then it was another, and now it's no vehicles right now. We could go to the store, like it's not out, but it's going out. When I go to put the brakes on, it sounds like somebody threw gravel in my fucking brakes. So, yeah. It's ugly. It's life. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep chugging. Hopefully we're going to kick Kentucky in the nutsack this year and have a big old gobbler 2 or 4, you know. Be me and Tiffany. We're not bringing anybody else. We didn't waste our time with trying to take the kids down there. It was going to be too much, especially with all our vehicle problems. But, you know, maybe one year we'll be able to take them again. I think I took Jaden. I never got to take Caden down there, but I took Jaden back whenever he was a kid. He had some success on public, and that public now is completely wrecked. Me and Tiffany went there last year. Holy cow, did they do a number to that place. It is by far in worse shape than I would have ever imagined. If they said they came in and managed it, I would have expected better. I went in there, dude. There wasn't hardly signs of deer or turkey compared to back in the day when I came there, and it was like, holy crap, like, does anybody hunt here is how many turkeys and deer there were. But yeah, not there now. So good job with your habitat management, I guess, if you want to pretend that's how we do this. But so now we are focused. We're trying to get our shit in order. The plan is to knock out some turkeys, you know, knock out this road trip with no bullshit, hopefully. You know, it's going to be a rental car, so I don't think we'll have any vehicle problems. And then, like I said, it's back to season up here. And then a little bit of fishing when we can. Hopefully we can all tag out early, and I got to get some work back done if that's the case, and then I can make sure I pull ahead. But, you know, if it's a tough season, we'll grind it out. We'll make it work. We're going to get some birds, I think, anyways. I feel like it's going to be a good year. I've got a decent amount of birds on camera in on one property for sure. Both properties that I have the majority of my cameras have birds. And then there's public where you can't run cameras this time of year. So I wouldn't know, but from what I scouted, I found quite a bit of bird sign. I've seen some toms, I've seen some hens. I think I'm in the right area. So we'll see. It's just a matter of luck and no one else happening to go in there and hunting the same birds we're trying to hunt. That does happen. That's part of it. Hopefully we can get it done in youth before there's too many people out, but we'll see. I think that's just about everything I can really think of right now. After this, it's just, you know, summer. We didn't do much waiting last year, so we'll get some waiting in this year for those of you who actually watch it. You know, it is what it is. There's not a whole lot of views on the fishing videos. They're kind of whatever. They're hit and miss. If you like smallmouth fishing or whatever, then maybe you'll like watching them. But 90% of the time we're not throwing artificial either. We don't really care if we're throwing artificial. There's a million minnows in the creek, and that's what we know they like to eat. And that also turns a smallmouth fishing trip into smallmouth, spotted bass, largemouth, channel cat, crappie potentially, bowfin. You know what I mean? If you use live bait, you just have a lot more options. And we're out for having fun. We don't keep those fish anyways. I didn't even know my computer was on, but apparently it is. So yeah, but that's that. I think we are ready to go kill some birds. And like I said, I've not been on these podcasts, so this is finally number 3 or 4, I think, since I restarted doing this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I deleted everything except for one from this channel. Everything, if you want to find them, they're all on Rumble. Everything was just too monetized on YouTube here. It's BS. Like, you can't. The majority of what I said has been proven. Okay, I mean, the majority of what I was suggesting has video proof to go with it. So all the stuff I was getting copyrighted or flagged on, or things they said I couldn't say, talking about population so-called controlism. You can't speak too much on that one because they apparently don't want you to spread the word. But yeah, so it just got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm just taking these off of here because they're not helping my channel any. And that is what it is. And ultimately, I've not helped my channel any lately. I've not had the spare time. I've not been pushing it. I've not been worried about pushing it. I've just been, like I said, worrying about a project here, a project there, or taxidermy here. Can you hear the birds? That's to the side of my garage. They're called starlings. Those are the little groups you see like around Bloomington and shit, where blackbird groups fly up, whatever. Those are the same ones that tear up the sides of the buildings. They get in your house. Any hole they can find, they make bigger. Yeah. So I kill those about every day. Just about every day. It's an invasive species from like Europe or something. But yeah, I think that's everything. I think that's pretty much the whole get up. We found 2 deadheads this year. Caden found 2 sheds. Tiffany found 1 shed. I found 5, I think. 4 of them on camera for sure. I forgot my camera one day and found the better one of the year, but still it was a bad year. I didn't hardly find nothing. I was hoping to get to go before this, but I've just had to work all week. I had no space to go out. And then it rained, like I said, so there's been a lot of crap. But well, alright, I think we're ready to say fuck it. I got some packing to do. I'm going to bring a lot of decoys. I'm going to bring guns, chairs, blah, blah, blah. We're going to attempt to get 4 turkey tags filled in Kentucky. We've set it for 5 days, I think, total. But we're going to try to do it in like 2 or 3 days. So we'll see. I'm hoping for a lot of luck and hopefully not a lot of bullshit. This year's been a lot of that, but it is what it is, and keep chugging. So appreciate y'all for watching. I know I'm kind of everywhere with it. I didn't even know what the hell I wanted to talk about. I just knew it's been a minute, and I might as well get one in before I go. So see y'all on the next one, and appreciate y'all watching this one. So like, subscribe if you give a shit. If you don't, I don't give a shit either. Suck it.